Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of DadVGirls After Hours, episode 24.
Yay!
Welcome to my show, Sarah. Thanks for coming on.
Oh yeah, sure, it's your show.
Well, am I DadVGirls or is DadVGirls all of us? Because sometimes there's confusion.
We actually got called Mum V Girls once, didn't we? And you hated it.
Oh, yeah, because she said, I watch your channel all the time, Mum V Girls. And I was like, come on, I'm already struggling here. I'm one guy. All the girls are like all the main characters, which I'm fine with, but at least don't remove my name from the name of the show. Like, I am the dad of DadVGirls. No, because my name on Instagram, I kind of run the DadVGirls account, but I look at it like that's my Instagram account. But sometimes people say, who's replying on the DadVGirls account? And I think I'm DadVGirls. Like, but then it's also all of us. I don't know. It's a weird one, but. So kind of like my name's on the title of the show, so it's kind of my show.
If that's what makes you feel good, then have that.
I need to justify my existence sometimes.
Have it. Absolutely fine.
Just kidding. It's the two of us, the couple show.
What? Don't be such a loser.
So we said goodbye to Grace the other day at the airport. She is headed off to Borneo for 4 weeks, which
it's so tough because let's break this down. Okay, so we were already feeling a little bit nervous about her going because
I feel nervous about Grace just going into London for the day.
We always laugh at Grace, but her issue is she's not great at communicating. Like she just does.
She's not great at planning ahead.
Yeah, so like a couple of days beforehand, she's like, "But Mum, I didn't get those long sleeve tops." I'm like, "I ordered you some, and I told you to have a look for some. Send me the links, I'll send them." I'm like, "You're nearly 17 now, babes. You could get yourself a couple of long sleeve tops. Like, I've got a lot on my plate. Maybe you could just find these tops. I'm saying I'll buy them. Just send me the links. Don't let me look for them."
Yeah. It's not about the money. It's more like the organisation. Yeah. But the thing is, it's weird because I think in some ways I feel like Grace is more independent than Casey.
Yeah.
But then in other ways, she's not independent because of this lack of like thought.
Yeah. So like, if she was to go out, she'll ring me and be like, "Mum, can you pick me up?" And I'll be like, "Yeah, sure." When? She's like, "Now."
Yeah, 10 minutes ago, I'm actually waiting outside because the parents
to be gone now.
The parents had kicked us out of the house. I'm actually sat on the curb.
And I'm like, "It takes 20 minutes to get to you, kid." Okay.
And then you'll be on the way and she'll be like, "Can you drop off so-and-so? And you're like, yeah, all in opposite directions. Brilliant.
Yeah.
And she's got you on loudspeaker, so you can't say no.
No, the worst is when they've gone to a party, right? And I go to pick her up. I'm already tired because I've waited up for her to pick her up. And then as I'm driving there, I get the message of, "Can you also drop off like 3 different people, all different areas?" And I'm like,
but don't worry if not, because they can just get the bus and then you feel guilty.
I'm never going to let them get this.
Yeah.
Like, hey, hop on in and you get.
So,
but anyway, yeah.
We dropped Grace off to the airport. Obviously, it was quite emotional. Sarah did cry. I didn't cry, but I did feel emotional. And we sent her off with the school for this Borneo trip, 4 weeks, right? We are walking back to the car like, oh, we're going to miss her.
We literally took a few steps. That was it.
We got a phone call from her friend. Grace has lost her phone. We're like, oh my God.
What?
This is why, Grace, this is why we're worried about you going. Like you're 1 minute into your trip and you already lost your phone.
Like, I think I put it in my back pocket. I went, "Grace, you're wearing leggings. You have no back pocket." What? Oh, I don't really know. I'm like, okay, fine. So, but then it was actually Maddie that found it. She's like, "Under the buggy." So we found it. We had to, and then she's like, "I'll come to you." So we're standing by the doors waiting for her. I ring back like, "Where are you?" She said, "No, I'm in the queue. You have to come to me." At what point was you going to communicate that I need to now?
We would have been just waiting there. She's waiting there
by the departure doors. So I give it to her.
But the thing is with the Borneo trip, and why I'm really glad that Grace is doing it, obviously it's going to be an incredible life experience. And I think traveling in any capacity it's just brilliant. Like anyone should do it, whether that's for a week or a month or 3 months, whatever. But the thing that I like about Grace going to Borneo with the school on an organised trip is it's kind of like a entry level traveling experience, like because she's going to want to go traveling like Casey did.
She said
this is almost like training. It's like she's not completely by herself. She's with teachers, but she will get to experience some travel. So when she does go traveling, she's already had like a little bit of.
Because when I said to my mum that she's gone, and I said about the phone, and I mentioned about the passport, my mum said, "Oh wait, what? The teacher's not going to take her passport off her?" I went, "No, mum, she's nearly 17. She can hold her own passport." She's like, Oh gosh,
They're not going to take their spending money off them either.
Thing. Yeah, it's a known thing to be like, oh, I'll be a bit worried about her. But no, it is really good. The thing I'm going to struggle with is the school said that because their phones won't work out there'd be hardly any communication.
There would be hardly any communication anyway.
Which is great for her. She's like, great. But for me, I'm like, oh my gosh. But the school, like, no news is good news. So if you hear from us, imagine if my phone rings and it's them, like, I'm going to be freaked out. Like, what's the bad news? But
Grace has lost her passport. That's what it's going to
be. Last night when Casey was making us dinner, it was really funny. She was like, should I see if Grace wants some? I'm like, Casey? Oh, yeah, she's not here.
I would do that. I would do that.
I said, she's not here.
I'd probably ring Grace like, oh, I'm locked out. Like, are you in? I'm in Borneo. That's the sort of thing I'd do. But the other thing that I was going to say is, so I was saying to her, I was trying to get her like mentally prepared for the trip, because part of this, they have to trek through the jungle for days. And
they're in hammock.
They're going to have to put up their own hammock, and they're going to sleep in a hammock in the jungle.
Like 5 nights, yeah.
And I said to Grace, this is going to be an incredible experience, but you need to be mentally prepared that it is not going to be all roses and sunshine. It is going to be tough. And there are going to be days or moments where you feel like, I wish I never come. I just want to go home. I was like, as long as you're ready for them and prepared for them, and you know, you just got to get through it and it will get better. Because I think that's the thing. When Casey went traveling, she wasn't mentally prepared that there would be parts of it which would be hard. So she just went like, every day is going to be amazing. And it wasn't. And there were days when she cried and she wanted to come home and it's hard. So I was just saying to Grace, overall, it's going to be an incredible experience. But just realize, sleeping in the jungle in a hammock with bugs and potential rain, like, it's going to be tough.
I'm trying not to laugh to myself, because I keep thinking about the things she had to pack when they said get a really wide brimmed hat and working gloves. When I put them on, I look like an old lady that likes to do her garden.
And some of the stuff she had packed was so random.
Well, they have to have long, even though it's really hot, they have to have long sleeve tops. They have to have long sleeve trousers, like wide brimmed hats. The sun is like, they have to be covered up. So it is going to be funny.
So today's episode isn't actually all about Grace going to Borneo. Today's episode, we get so many questions asking us to talk about Sarah's pregnancies, Sarah's labour, and just all that kind of stuff. So we thought we'd do a bit of a dedicated episode to all of this good greatness.
So I actually saw a post the other day, which is what has kind of triggered this, that I saw it said, women after giving birth don't feel like themselves until the baby is around 2 years old. And I just thought it's firstly, so real. And two, it's such a good, valid point, because I think a lot of women put so much pressure on themselves. One, to quickly get back into shape or look a certain way after they've just had a baby. When, in my opinion, I'm always like, it took you 9 months to grow your belly into a big bump. Give yourself a good 9 months to let yourself get back. Like, you know, your organs have all moved around, and, you know, so just be patient. But mentally and emotionally, I feel like you're so up and down for 2 years. And it also said it can cause so many relationship issues in that first 2 years, because I don't think the guys fully understand how emotional it is for a woman to completely change. Her life's changed. Her emotions have been knocked and all over the place.
I feel like your emotions have been up and down pretty much for the last 19 years since having Casey. So it might not just be 2 years. It could be like a lifetime of this.
Could be. Not gonna lie.
I'm just kidding. In all seriousness, I think it's a very good point. I think women can be really hard on themselves for not instantly feeling back to their usual selves, their bodies not being how they want it to be, and all that kind of stuff. Like, these things take time. Especially
when it's your first baby, I think this, the more you have, the more I think you come to the realization that that's how you feel afterwards. Not that that means it's okay and you don't suffer, but with your first, I think from the minute you find out you're pregnant for a mum, like you turn into a mum. You've thought about your future. You've already thought about the things that might change in life. Whereas I don't think that happens for the dads. They don't really understand it until the baby is here. So the mum instantly, her life has changed from the minute she finds out she's pregnant.
So we're at like we're at like a massive disadvantage as a male species there, because you guys have like an internal maternal instinct which switches on like through hormones, and just like, it's mother nature, right? It kicks in. even down to the point of like, you know, nesting, like it's a real thing. I thought, come on, like we're not animals. Like you're not actually going to start nesting. Like you start nesting with every pregnancy. It's like, you can tell you start getting stressed out if things aren't a certain way. And I'm just thinking, no, we can sort that when the baby's here. As long as we got a cot, we got like
that
bottles.
Huge row we had once because you wouldn't take me to IKEA to buy the drawers that I wanted then and there.
Oh my Lord.
I'm ready to make the baby's clothes. And you're like, well, yeah, we'll do it in a couple of days. I'm like, now, like we end up having this huge, do you remember? We end up having a huge row.
I vaguely remember it. It sounds familiar. It sounds like something that happened.
It's like that whole thing of like, I've got it in my head, I need to sort the baby.
And me just being like, yeah, cool, like we can do that in a couple of days. No big deal. But in your mind, it's like, you need these things in place, right? But as men,
just don't get
we don't really have that thing that just switches on until we like see the baby, hold the baby, like all those sort of things. Like even then we still don't, it's not like an instant switch. Because I have friends who, like some people have said to me before, like, because obviously we had kids really early, and then a lot of my friends and people I know have like started to have kids like a lot later. And I've heard people say it's a couple of times, almost like a man saying like, well, when I have kids, like I know everything's going to change for me, because like in a good way, it's like, I'm going to like, it's going to change the way that I'm going to be more, I don't know, almost like more ambitious, like more like I'm going to turn into a better version of myself, like because I'm going to have a reason to do all that stuff. I'm like, yeah, like that's nice in theory, but like it doesn't change overnight. Like these things come in time. Like we take a while to really be like, oh, we got like a human that we kind of need to look after.
But I do see like on for a guy's point of view, like how hard that actually would be as well, because never
did I think this would turn into a man sympathizing episode.
No,
I thought this was going to be a man hating episode.
But I'm sure we'll get to that.
I'm sure there's time.
No, but what I'm saying is like with us women, the fact that we have had 9 months to try and like, which is why we're emotional and hormonal about the whole situation, but we are trying to get our heads around it. But with a man, he doesn't have that time because it only happens when. Maybe there are some men that also do have that, but there's
always going to be exceptions to the rule.
But I'm just saying, like the men that don't, so that when the baby arrives, you're in the thick of it now. Like there's no thinking.
You've been thrown into the deep end. Your body and mind did not prepare you for this.
Like
you're in it, and it's sink or swim.
And women, obviously, if they're working, they get to have time. They can do their maternity leave to have a couple of weeks, like beforehand, to prep, and I think mentally that's what we're doing. If you don't, you're working until it's like, we're in labour, let's go to the hospital. Like, I actually just thought about that. It's actually...
Wow, I feel like we've really had a breakthrough here today, guys.
Yeah, there you go.
I feel like...
We're done, Jake.
One small step for man, one huge step for mankind just happened in this podcast, because we've just witnessed
but
Sarah seeing it from a man's point of view.
I mean...
We've won.
I mean, there's definitely sides that, like... but
so what parts of
you're not going to get me to just talk nicely about men now, are you? What part is that what you're going to do? Like,
well, specifically, what parts of me do you love the most? What parts of me do you like? Tell us stories of times when I was just really thoughtful and considerate during pregnancies. No, I'm joking. I was going to say, like, what parts of the pregnancies like do you want to get into? Should we get into? I can't see the freaking screen, so can you help me out here? We've got notes on the screen, guys, and I'm looking at Sarah desperately to basically get us on to the next topic.
No, I felt like you had a point.
The thing is, right, just to fill everyone in on the situation here, obviously we freestyle and wing a lot of the stuff we talk about, but we do have like show notes, right? The show notes are directly in front of Sarah. She literally has to glance straight ahead and she will see them. I have to turn my whole head like this, which obviously is very distracting to Sarah. If you catch me on camera, it's weird. So I really rely on Sarah.
I thought you sound like you had such a valid point. You was like, yeah, like so I was.
Yeah, so like what?
I was all ready
what should we move on to, Sarah?
Hold on, cravings.
I'm craving that we move on to the next topic. Okay, did you have any weird cravings?
No, not really. Actually,
yes, you did. What? So you don't like. Sarah hates Big Macs, yeah? She likes McDonald's, but she hates Big Macs. Like during her pregnancy with Grace, she could not get enough of Big Macs. Like literally, like I love a Big Mac, but like she's
really
never
funny.
eaten one.
I remember being like, Joel, that smells really good. What is that? And you're like, Big Mac. I was like, yeah, but it smells so good. You're like, I get this all the time. I was like, I bet. I was like, oh my gosh, I end up eating your burger. It also happened another time. I hated pickle. You made a ham and pickle sandwich. I was like, Joel, that smells so good. He was like, do you want to try some? I'm like, yeah. I now eat ham and pickle sandwiches.
I nearly lost a finger that day.
I tell you what, I did
she was eating my food like I'd never seen before. Stuff that it's quite nice that I have such different tastes, because like I can eat my stuff in peace and quiet and not get Sarah trying it. But all of a sudden she wants to eat everything I'm eating. And
since then I haven't eaten.
And like full fat Coke. You loved it.
It had to be ice cold. So I remember once you went to the shop, you got me one. It wasn't cold enough. I sent you back to get another one. It had to
3 mile walk in the snow. That was.
It had to be. It had to be freezing cold. Grace, I remember my craving was I weirdly would go to bed with there was cereal that used to be called like Cocoa Pop Mega Munchers and a lolly. There's the break ones that would break. So I'd have like a bowl of cereal and then 2 lollies. Then brush my teeth and go to sleep. It was like something I like to do in bed for Grace.
I don't even remember that.
You weren't really around. You was out living your life. Living your best life.
I was nesting.
Out in IKEA getting them drawers.
Yeah.
And then Sophie, I don't remember having cravings. All I remember is that was when you was in your real, like trying to bulk up, healthy eating. You was like doing like the gym. And I remember coming down once and it was like 7 a.m. in the morning. You were cooking spaghetti bolognese. And it literally turned my tummy to the point where I now hate spaghetti bolognese.
Which frustrates the hell out of me, because it's like my favourite. It's one of my favourite meals is like spaghetti bolognese. And now we used to eat it all the time as a family. And just because one day I decided to cook it in the morning. So I was going to have like breakfast, lunch, dinner, spaghetti bolognese. And that's it. Now she doesn't eat spaghetti bolognese. It's so annoying.
I don't remember having a craving for Chloe. Do you remember?
No, I don't really remember.
I don't
think
remember
so.
having one either with Maddie. So
Any things that you like disliked, like you were like that you just got put off of, that you used to like?
You?
And then, yeah.
Oh.
You know,
actually,
that you used to like.
This does tell me a story. So my sister,
oh my God.
my sister Emma, in her pregnancy with, was it Olivia?
Yeah.
So her second baby, she just outright like, and even to this day, she doesn't know why. It's quite funny in our household, but she outright just hated you. She would come in the house and not even acknowledge you, wouldn't even look your direction.
You did. I don't think so. You basically didn't notice it, right? But I noticed it because, like, obviously, your sister come over and I'd like try and get eye contact. Hey,
I see, bear in mind, we're really close to my sister. So we see her all the time.
And then, like, obviously, like, I would say things and she would be like really dismissive or like just completely ignore me. And then I said to you one day, I was like, I really feel like your sister doesn't like me for some reason. And then you were like, oh no. And then obviously then you started to pay attention. You're like, oh my God, I think she doesn't like you.
Yeah.
And obviously I was like, I don't know, like she's pregnant. Like, I don't know. So the thing is, sometimes when people are pregnant, like certain people can really just irritate them. Even them just being there, like breathing, irritating them. And I was like, I'm that person to your sister. I'm irritating her for no reason.
Before she had it, I did have it. I'm not going to mention the person's name because I've never told them, but I had that. I couldn't bear to be around them. Like their breathing would irritate me. Like I wanted to punch them full on in the face.
Yeah.
Like,
and I basically said to Sarah, "Oh my God, I'm that person for your sister."
There's someone really close to me. Like, and I would never.
Everyone watching this who's close to you is now going to think it's them.
Listen, if you got heavy breathing, it's you. No joke. No, but honestly, it literally used to like irritate me. I couldn't even be in the room with them, and I just. So then when Emma had it, I'm like, oh, babe, don't worry. It's a pregnancy thing. Like it goes as soon as you don't, like you're not pregnant. Like it's okay.
But we never addressed
that person.
We never addressed it with your sister until after, like, till probably like a year later. And she was like, what? She was like so shocked. She's like, no, I didn't. I like basically was like,
work out
I never,
yeah.
She doesn't acknowledge that she was like that.
Yeah.
She doesn't remember
she doesn't know.
I think it was like so subconscious that she just basically she was dismissive of me, ignored me. We laugh about it now. Like she wasn't like ever like, said anything bad, but it was funny.
It was funny.
But yeah.
But I also think that you did put me off by looking up.
See? Guys, I turned and looked at the notes to see what we're talking about next. And see, this is why I didn't want to do it, because then she's looking into my ear, trying to talk to the side of my face.
Okay, no,
request to get another screen on the other side. I don't know. Is it in the budget? Can we get a screen in front of me?
Or do you just swap places for next time?
No, this is my spot now.
Okay, it's the dad show. No, so I was going to say...
Just to let you know, the the next section is about labours.
That's what I was about to go on to, and then you turned, and I was like, because you do this.
And for the people who are only audio listening to this, Sarah's slowly turning her head.
So obviously we want to talk labours, but because obviously I feel like all of our labours have been very different.
I'm glad that she's saying ours, like our labours.
Okay,
I feel like I do feel like I'm part of it now. Thank you.
No, okay. The first two you're probably a part of. The third, I'd say, the last three, I feel like I fully did myself.
Wait, what?
Well, like the first two, you know, you was all like patting my back, like flannel to head. You know, it was hours. I feel like on the other ones that we make a joke of like.
I feel like I was more.
No, the last three, I was so in my own zone. I remember I always say like you could have been like wherever, and I didn't really know. I was very like.
But just for like to confirm, I was there doing the same things. You just didn't notice it.
Oh, so I'm saying like you could have been off out elsewhere.
Anyway, back to our labours, as you said.
Casey was actually 3 weeks early, and obviously I was 18, so wasn't fully aware that I didn't realise that you could actually get contractions in your back. So I remember being sat at the dinner table because I still lived with my mum, and I remember being like, oh, like as I'm eating, my mum without me knowing started timing them, and she was like, Sarah, like you've got contractions, and I started laughing like I haven't got like contractions, I've just got back pain. She's like, no, they're contractions. I'm like, you can't get contractions in your back. And they're like, yes, you can. So I rang the midwife. She's like, yeah, you can. If the baby's laying a certain way, you can get the contractions in your back. So I remember ringing you because you was about to go out on a night out drinking. I'm like, you can't drink, you got to come. Like, I'm in labour. You're like, really?
I'm like, are you sure? Because I was like pre-drink stage. I was like with all my friends, with the music going.
3 weeks early, weren't expecting it.
We were about to head out to the club, and then you're just like, yeah, I think I'm in labour. I'm like, just keep me updated on it, really. No, then obviously, yeah, we went. I came over to you, then we went to the hospital.
And I feel like my labour is quite long, but I think it was
4 days.
17 hours.
If it was a long one.
With Casey, I ended up having an epidural.
Yeah, should we talk about it?
Yeah.
Should we talk about your behaviour? I'm joking. Obviously, in labour, it's very excusable, but it's funny. But the first thing that's funny, obviously, we were like 18. I always say we were 18. I think I was 19.
I think you was 19. I was.
It's 10. Easier for us to say like we were 18 when we had Casey rather than I was 19. Casey.
Yeah, go carry on.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm going to say it from now on. Like we were 18. So they were like to Sarah, like, here's the gas and air. This is how you use it. Like, this is when to use it, blah, 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 blah. Sarah's like quite like, she gets really nervous about anything like that. She was like, didn't really want to do it. I was like, give me that thing.
I was like, can you try it out, please?
Didn't have to ask me. I was already chugging away on that thing. So obviously when you take gas and air, it's really noisy. It's like all the air, you can hear it. So obviously the curtain's pulled, and then I'm just like, I'm having the time of my life on that thing, right? And I'm like, my God, we should go into labour more often. And then
that's why we did it 5 times.
Honestly, only because I had an addiction to the gas and air. I just want to become a midwife now. No, so the nurse comes in the room but doesn't see because the curtain's shut. She can just hear the gas and air going. She comes in, obviously I quickly give it to you, and she's like, oh, how's the gas and air? And you looked at her and went, I don't know, I haven't tried it yet. And then she looked at me, I looked at her, I looked at you, and I was just like thinking, great, you could have just said, yeah, it's really nice, thanks. I'm like, yeah, it's brilliant.
Oh, no.
But the thing I was going to actually go on to say is you didn't want an epidural at first. And obviously as the labour was going on, you were getting more and more in pain. And then basically you got to the point where I
was like, get this thing out of me.
Literally, it was like she was possessed. She's like, get that thing out of me. She was like, give me a fucking epidural. Like, the thing is, Sarah is the loveliest person you will meet, right? But she did start, no, she turned into like, yeah, you were scary. You were like swore at the nurse and stuff. They were being a bit annoying at that point. They weren't really listening to you, and then you just like lost your shit.
They then got me the epidural.
They got you the epidural.
Yeah. And then I was going to say, like, obviously we had Casey, then Grace. Grace was really easy. I think it was like 6 hours. I think when we had Grace, I didn't have an epidural with her, but I feel like what happened with Casey is I lost control in the moment. And when you lose control, it's really hard to gain it back, gain that focus back. So I definitely became a pro for all my labours because I just learned like to focus and breathe through each one. But again, you did the gas and air.
Yeah, well, obviously it's a given. I did it every time, but I do think that's actually a really good point. And I don't know if you've ever said that before and I just not listened, or this is the first time hearing it, but I think that's a good point. Is like you mentally, if you can remain in control, it's so much.
It's easier.
Easier.
That's the only way. And I say this as my tip to any of my friends or anyone that has babies. I genuinely feel like there's so much power in your mind that with Casey, I was young. I didn't really understand. No one had given me advice, but after Grace and I was a little bit more focused. It was still like, wasn't a great pregnancy, but I definitely remember in Sophie, I focused on a tap. Every time there was a contraction, I would just breathe the gas and air through it and be like, I'm one step closer. You've got this. And like tell myself I've got this and just focused literally on a tap. I remember it being opposite me in the bed. And then I did that with Chloe and then Maddie. And not saying it wasn't hard because obviously it is very hard, hardest thing we've done, but it just made it so much easier to be focused because as soon as if you lose that control, it's gone. And it's so hard.
I did notice that. I did notice that with especially like Chloe's because you just got in a zone and it was like I wasn't there.
Chloe's was like the best labour I've had. It was 45 minutes from when we got into the hospital. I remember us going to the hospital. Well, going back to Sophie's. Sophie's was lovely throughout, but then at the end, the placenta abrupted at the same time she came out. So it was all scary,
it all
messy.
All happened very fast.
Which we don't think has anything to do with her special needs, but
no, it doesn't.
But it was a bit.
I do think because
worrying.
you had to be induced for Sophie, and I do think because of Sophie's got like low muscle tone and stuff like that. Like, I think maybe that was making it.
Yeah, because they kept upping it and upping it and upping it, and she just was not coming.
Yeah.
To the point where they were like, "This now, the pain is just going to be," because when they give you, when they induce you, it does increase the pain of and the speed and stuff. So I remember it just all of a sudden being hell. But the other thing is, as well as the focus point, is to listen to your own body. Your body is like just amazing in this situation, which you can go on in a minute to tell them about the Maddie story because you like to tell about basically like mechanics. So hold that point, we'll go there. But with Chloe, I remember my waters breaking. We went to the hospital and it was a trainee midwife. And she's like, oh, just go for a walk and come back in a couple of hours. Firstly, it's January. Where am I walking? It's cold. It's
freezing.
Like, I'll go for a walk in the car.
She said go for a walk for like 2 hours.
I'm like, it's freezing. Absolutely not. I'm staying in here. If it's not happening, I'll chill in here, thanks. Secondly, I'm like, to you, I'm not going anywhere. I can feel this baby's head. Like, I'm not leaving this hospital. There was a handover. And within 45 minutes, Chloe was there. We gave birth in a what are they called?
Birthing pool.
Birthing pool, that's it. Honestly, it was like I say, it's like she slipped out, glides. Like if you can have a water birth, I would 100% recommend it. Out of all of them, it was the easiest. I just felt calmer, like being in the water.
I was just gutted I didn't bring my trunks because
that would have been so gross.
I wasn't allowed in.
You were like, can I?
No, I'm gutted I didn't bring my trunks because then I had to go in nude and that was weird. No, just
but it's definitely, I would say.
I definitely feel like it was the most calm.
We had music playing.
Oh, it was beautiful.
I can remember the songs playing.
There is a video on our YouTube channel of Chloe's birthing vlog. It's part of like when I think it's her first birthday and her birthing vlog all in one. It was magical.
It was really lovely. It actually just was the best. It was just easy. Maybe the only thing I didn't like is when you get out of the water because they've taken the baby, they asked me to hold the placenta as I walked out.
Oh, I don't remember
I
that.
had to step. No, you was over the baby because she wasn't breathing. She had to have a few minutes.
That was scary. The same sort of thing happened with Sophie as well. But basically, all the doctors and nurses rush in, and like baby's not responding, and it's like, oh god, like
so I said,
time stands still. Baby. It probably only really lasts like 30 seconds or whatever, but it feels like it's gone on for eternity, and it's like when I watch that video now, like it makes me cry. Oh. But yeah, obviously.
And then Maddie. You find this the funniest of how our midwife, her name was Sophie as well. She was brilliant. Like,
she was good.
She fully just took a step back and was like, you know what you're doing. I'm waiting. I'm going by your body. And she kept, so obviously you might as well tell it because I'm.
Well, also, I just want to point out, obviously, like we've had lots of midwives between 5 pregnancies, and obviously people changing shifts. Like we've had quite a few midwives.
Yeah.
You can tell, first of all, you can tell ones that like are quite textbook.
Ones that don't have children, I always
Ones that don't have children. I also think that some of the ones that don't have children still can be really good, but they need to understand like it's not all textbook. There is an element of like you said, like a woman, like the midwife listening to what the woman is saying and like what they are feeling despite what the textbook would say.
Yeah.
So it is really nice when you have midwives that just really like lean into like the mother's instinct.
Yeah.
It makes everything go so much easier.
Because this lady that we had, there was at one point I thought something was going wrong. Do you remember? And she was listening, but she was reassuring me like everything's okay. But it was just really calming that she was listening to me. She's like, what do you feel? What do you think's not going? Like, I just went into panic mode that something was going to be wrong for some reason. But yeah,
which one was that with?
For Maddie, I remember laying on my side, and you was worried because the other two, so Chloe and Sophie, somehow, or maybe even Grace, like I can be at 3 centimeters dilated, and then with one contraction, I've then gone to 10.
Yeah,
and the baby's then coming out.
Turbo mode.
And I remember you were saying with Chloe, because I was like, I'm going to push, and they're like, no, we've just checked you. You're only like 3 centimeters, and you were saying, I can remember you telling her. No, Sarah does, like, this is Sarah. Like, she goes basically with one contraction, well, she'll go from like 3 centimeters to 10 centimeters. The baby's coming out, and then the baby was coming out. So I feel like.
So I was helpful.
You was helpful, to be fair.
So anyway, the funny story, right? So Sarah is having like major contractions. She's just in her zone. She's rocking. So you're standing up. You're kind of like, you've got your hands on the bed, but you're rocking side to side, side to side. And you're just in the zone. This is what you get into. You get in your zone, right?
Yeah.
Midwife comes in and is basically just.
Obviously, I had a nightie on.
So yeah, Sarah has a nightie on. Her legs are like apart, like standing, swaying.
Yeah.
This midwife just gets onto the floor, lays down, right, and just slides herself under Sarah whips out a torch like a mechanic. Like she's checking what's under the hood, like. Yes, I can fix that. It's going to run you about $300. But it was just the way that she did it. Just so matter of fact. She just slid herself in there. I had a look up, went, yeah, okay, cool.
I was so in the zone, I didn't even notice.
I'm like, what's the damage? like, it was just, honestly, the way she did it just cracked me up. You were like none the wiser.
No.
But
she was saying how... she was like saying to you to watch, because basically I started with you, I'm standing, and she was like, look how deep I was getting, and by the end I'm like really down low. She was like, you could tell the baby's dropped. So she was she was just brilliant. She was really good.
She was good. And now I'm going to tell you about some midwives that are not good. Or ones that I wish I put in a complaint in on. So who was it that we'd had?
Well, there was that one you told her, do not come in our room.
It was Chloe. Yeah, when we had Chloe. So see, we had Chloe that night. We went into whatever, it's a private room. We weren't private, but sometimes they give you a room, sometimes you're on a ward, whatever. So it's a room. So obviously, the next morning, keeping in mind, Sarah had given birth the night before. Obviously, everyone, like, baby's exhausted, Sarah's exhausted, I'm exhausted.
More importantly, we're all sleeping. My baby's sleeping.
We're sleeping, right? We're fast asleep. 6 a.m, this midwife burst through the door. And I mean like burst, like she did not creep in, yeah? She literally flung the door open.
Pulled the curtain
back, lights on, right? And I was like, hello? And she's just like, baby's pooed. Like,
why have you not changed?
Why have you not changed her? And I'm like,
And
I'm sorry,
oh my
what?
God.
I'm sorry, what? What are we supposed to? Are we supposed to stand there watching to see if she poos? Like, what?
We're asleep. She's
We're
not-
asleep. Like,
Yeah.
she's like, baby needs feeding. When was the last time she fed? Da 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 da. I'm like, baby's sleeping, mum's sleeping, dad's sleeping. Like, what? Like, what? We're in a state of shock and confusion. She was so rude,
Made
so
us feel
aggressive.
so bad. Made us feel like the worst parents
She
ever.
spoke to us like this was like our first child. I was honestly at first in shock.
But also, if that is your first child, that's not okay.
No, that's
because
not
if your
okay.
baby's sleeping, don't wake a sleeping baby. Like that's my thing of like.
But
just
also,
let
like, how crap would we have felt if that was our first child? Because you would have made us feel like we are terrible parents, right? Because this was our fourth child, right? So we're very confident in the fact that we know we're good parents. We don't care if a midwife comes in shouting whatever, blah, 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 blah. But I was like, this is our fourth baby. Like, what are you doing? Like, I think
so
she
rude.
thought it was our first and she could like talk down to us.
You cannot do that.
I went to, like, there was a thing about, I can't remember, it was like milk or whatever.
Yeah,
like
she said, "Come with me, and I'll show you where to put the where we keep the milk."
She was
She
so
took you.
blunt, aggressive. She came. We went to the fridge. I said to her, I don't know what your problem is. I was like, but do not come back in that room. And I'm not kidding. I don't want to see your face for the rest of the time we're here. If someone needs to come in, send someone else in. You have been so rude and so like abrasive, like, and so disrespectful to my wife and my newborn baby. I was like, do not. We never saw her the rest of the time we was there.
Yeah, but
But the thing is, I'm disappointed in myself for not making a formal complaint, not for us, for the sake of
Because
other
we've
people that
had-
she's going to treat like
we've
that.
had so many other friends that it's their first baby, and they've come out of hospital feeling so unsure of what to do because they've been given so many different opinions. Because that is the other thing; it's their opinion on how to feed your baby, when to change your baby. Like that's
and obviously,
their opinion,
like
and
you
they're
do,
all different,
but an advice is needed, especially when you're first time parents. Advice is needed, like rudeness and aggressiveness is like just so unnecessary.
I'm not gonna like.
I guess I don't know what was going on in her life. There must have been something going on in her life. She must have been unhappy with
No,
her
because
life or
the
something.
midwives are like this. I'm telling you. There's a
Whoa,
lot of midwives.
Let's not.
No,
There's some lovely midwives,
No,
guys.
there is. We just said that, but I'm saying
We
there
love-
are, like,
we
but
love
no, But
midwives.
the amount of stories, I bet you there's so many stories that would come off of this of how a woman was made to feel when in hospital. Because I know so many of my friends, like, and I'm only because we're strong enough to be like, no, we are good parents. We do know what we're doing. But
even like,
had it been our first, it would have been completely different.
Yeah, we would have left there feeling terrible.
I know so many first-time mums that have felt, or second-time mums that have been made to feel that, and what I'm trying to say is like, it's an opinion of how you might do something, but that doesn't mean it's the right way. We've been pretty blessed that our children sleep. I don't know how. When people ask me what our magic thing is, I don't know. We just have really chill babies that have always slept through, right? So the amount of times we have had midwives to say we should all wake our baby up to feed them. Like our babies have all been, other than Sophie, we've not put on weight. Like our babies have been healthy and like, if they want to sleep, let them sleep. Like
let the baby sleep. Jeez, let the dad sleep. That's what I say.
I'm not saying all midwives because we have definitely had some really lovely
We've
ones.
had some lovely ones.
But there
We've
are
had
ones
some
I
that have
think-
been abrasive, rude, just
But
unnecessary.
you get that in every place. But yeah, I feel like it's that whole hormonal thing. You're already questioning, are you going to do a good job? You're worrying.
I'm sorry, but you've also
now-
just done the most exhausting thing you could possibly do. Like, forget running a marathon. You've just literally like done that, and then they're waking you up at 6 a.m. for what?
Talking of exhausting thing, I'm going to do my honey. We need to talk.
Oh wow!
Because there was a pregnancy thing. I
Remember,
forgot we
we're on
could
the same
bring up.
team today.
Well, this time we weren't. Okay.
We're man lovers.
When I was pregnant with Grace, I became really greedy. We talked about the Big Macs. We talked about the ham and pickle sandwiches. But basically, I did get really greedy. I remember being in labour looking at you like, I just want a Chinese. I just want a Chinese. I'm so hungry, I want a Chinese. You're like, just get the baby out first. So I then give birth to the baby and I'm like, I'm starving. You're like, I'll sort you out. You go and get me a Mars bar and a can of Coke. You go eat. You didn't get me food. You never got me that Chinese. When you left, you went home. You didn't stay with me.
Whoa. Back it up. I don't remember this. What do you mean? So So
You went to the vending machine and got me a can of Coke and a Mars bar, which
and
I
just
should
went that will sort you through tonight.
Because
Surely they were going to
hospital
feed
then
you.
make you the hospital food toast. Yeah, they made me toast.
Why wouldn't I get you a Chinese?
Because you didn't.
For what reason? I don't know why I wouldn't do it. Did I forget? Did I say no?
You then didn't stay with me that night because I've got this weird thing about how you have to stay with me. But
I didn't stay with you the night Grace was born.
No, you weren't allowed. And again, a midwife
I wasn't
came
allowed.
In. No.
Okay. I was going to say, for the record, I was thinking there's no chance.
You're never allowed. You actually, the times you have stayed.
I get under the bed.
You stayed because we've had like, a private room again.
Actually, do you know what? I think Roland did that with Lily or Ralph. Their midwife said he's got to go home. So he got under the bed and slept under there so he couldn't see.
No, but you stayed in like those chairs. But this time with Grace, I was put on a ward with other people. So
it would have been weird if I'd stayed on the ward.
But again, the midwife came in and had a go at me because I hadn't held the baby enough because the baby was sleeping. I'm like, she's worried that I wasn't bonding enough. I'm like, she's sleeping. Let her sleep.
God, I'm sorry I didn't get you. I'll get you Chinese tonight if you want. Make up for it.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Then I went.
Have a curry
so I got sent home, and then I just went home. I probably had a Chinese.
You probably did.
I probably did. I probably felt like I deserved it.
I remember feeling so greedy, like the whole pregnancy, the whole labour, thinking like, can I just have a Chinese?
Do you know what the worst part of not for me? It doesn't matter what the worst part for me is. Do you know what I found really hard for you from my perspective, if that makes sense? You expect to go through all the labour pains and everything, right? And that's expected. It's tough to watch you in pain, but it's after you give birth. Your pains after you give birth are so bad that I found that really difficult to watch. So I'd say, could you just go in a different room and do that? I can't watch this. No, I feel like it's so unfair because I'm holding the baby. I think it happened definitely with Chloe and Maddie. I can't remember with Sophie.
So it gets, with each baby you have,
it's
your baby
like
your belly contracts back, and each baby it gets worse and worse. So yeah, so
I'm holding the baby. I'm like just having this magical moment with the baby. You're in so much pain, you can't even like barely look up at the baby, and I feel so guilty because like you've just gone through all that hard work. I now get all the cuddles with the baby, meeting the baby for the first time, and it's like about an hour, if not more, before you feel like
sorry, I thought you were talking about the pains that when I go home.
No, I'm talking about when we're in the hospital.
Yeah, so they were saying that's because my labours were so quick that it was kind of like it must be playing cat. I don't really understand, but yeah, I think that was Chloe and Maddie.
Definitely, Chloe and Maddie, and especially I remember with Maddie.
I was in so much pain afterwards. I thought something was wrong.
And I was like obviously trying to bring the baby over, and you were sort of looking at her, but you were also just in absolute agony that it's like you could.
I always feel like that was one of the things I used to dread of the labour was the after bit, because I'm like, you get gas and air for going through labour, but those pains afterwards that I felt were like labour.
And you don't get the gas and air.
I remember having Chloe and the pains being so bad at home, I had to ask your sister to get me some stronger painkillers on her way. And I remember the only thing that I thought, I just need to get in the bath and try and just relax my muscles, like in my belly and stuff. I remember just, again, like leaving you with the baby and your mum was there so that I could just go and be in pain on my own because it was just horrendous. Like,
my poor baby.
But it's all right. It's all good. Paternity leave.
Oh, did you see it on the screen? So we actually was having this conversation in the office the other day, but obviously like you get maternity leave, right? But then paternity leave, like generally it's like 2 weeks, isn't it? I know some companies becoming more progressive with it, like the man can have like more time off. But when you think about it, it's kind of mad that like previously like you just get like 2 weeks off and that's it.
Yeah.
And it's like,
even like I feel oh gosh, here we go again. I feel bad for the man as well because
guys, what is in the water today?
They should be able to have more time with the baby. Like I definitely think so. But also a supportive, like what you just said, what the woman's gone through. If a woman has a C-section, like recovery can be like 6 weeks. That's really mentally and emotionally tough, physically tough. I didn't have one, but I know friends that have, like, and their partners have to go back. That's then that's a real big procedure, and you're then having to rush to get back to routine and normality because your husband
paternity should really be like 6 weeks minimum.
It should be.
Right?
So it should definitely be able to support Your wife, you can help, because by 2 weeks, you're just in a period of like, you're just getting used to a baby. Even if it's baby number 5, right? We're quite quick to get into a routine. The baby kind of slots in, but you've still got a couple of weeks where you can't really do a school run because we don't really know when your baby feeds or how you've slept the night before. So just as you're kind of maybe starting to enjoy it, they go back to work and it's you're chucked in the deep end. So yeah, I would have liked to have been able to have more time with us at home to enjoy that time, because it goes so quick as well. Like,
some men are happy to go back to work. They're like, brilliant, 2 weeks. And now I get to go back to work and leave you to it. Not me though. Tell you that much for free.
no, you love that.
Nah, I love it.
I
I actually
remember
said
with
the other
my-
day that, like, obviously we're not having any more kids, but I was like, oh, like I so miss that time when you bring the baby home and it's just, all it is about is just the baby. It's like cuddles.
Yeah.
It's like changing the baby, feeding the baby. Everyone, all family, like coming round every day, like seeing the baby. It's like,
It's
I'm
so
like, I feel
nice.
sad that we're never going to have that again. But we've got 5 girls. Like, we're going to experience that as grandparents.
It is like I'm not sad that we're not going to have any more babies, but I do feel like, where am I going to get that feeling from? Like, there is no better feeling than when you first meet your baby. That instant love when you first meet them, that pain you've just gone through was all worth it. And it's just a feeling you can't describe, right? Like, how am I going to get that again? From what?
Like, I don't know, like a Big
I
Mac
don't
meal.
get that when I
Big
see
Mac
my
meal.
kids now. Like,
I get that from a Big Mac meal. If I've not eaten all day, right, there's nothing like large Coke.
Who are you kidding? You
Big
not
Mac.
eating all day? All right.
Is that on the board? Is that on the show notes?
Topic.
Oh yeah, look, last point there. Fat shame Joel. Oh yeah, nice.
Tick.
Good that we're sticking on
We
topic.
did it. We did
We
it.
did it. We did it. We really, really did it.
That dilemma. Let's get into that dilemma. I know you've got a juicy one.
That was weird. The way you looked at me and said that has just really freaked me out.
Got a juicy dilemma, yo.
All right, it's on my phone. All right, so we have a dilemma, okay? And it is about pregnancies and babies. So it's relevant to the show.
Aw.
So I'm currently pregnant with baby number 2 and we are over the moon. However, I can't say the same about my mum. Background. I'm 27. This is planned. I have a full-time job. So does my partner and we have a home. We're secure and happy. When I told her that we're expecting another, her response was, oh. It's not really what you
No.
expect, is it? She never checks in. She's totally unbothered and hasn't shown any interest. I've now found out she has given away, since telling her, all of the baby things that she kept from my daughter, almost as if she doesn't want to know. What do? I want my mum to be part of their life, but she's just showing all the signs she doesn't want to be, yet has a relationship with my firstborn. Any thoughts?
Wow.
Oh, that's tough.
Firstly, congratulations. That's really cute.
We're excited. Our reaction is yay, not oh. So,
Secondly, I would say if she's got rid of everything, say, oh, you must be buying me everything brand new. Thank you.
yeah, always look on the bright side of
Yeah.
life.
Oh, you want me to have new things. Oh, that's really sad.
I wonder what the reason is for it. Because if she has a good relationship with your firstborn, okay, just trying to. I always
No,
like to
I
play.
can't-
I like to play devil's advocate here.
Yeah. Because I can't think why that would be the case.
Obviously, we don't know your whole situation. I'm just wondering, like, I don't know if there's been any like struggles, like if there's been any like strains on your relationship, like whether you've had a hard time with your first one adapting to being parents, or if your mum has seen you guys go through a tough time and it's maybe a case of like she's worried about how adding another child.
Or is
to the
her
situation-
mum childcare?
What?
Is her mum
Oh,
childcare?
is your okay? Now
Is
we
her
might
mum
be getting.
childcare? Because there's a lot of grandparents now, which firstly it's been proven to make them younger. So grandparents get out their child minding, looking after your grandchildren makes you younger. That's why my mum's so young. She always got her kids.
Your mum got younger every time she looks after
Maybe
the kids. Your
that's
mum
what
would be
it-
like
obviously
your mum would be a newborn herself.
Yeah.
So that's actually a good point. So we are
Is
like,
she-
I apologize when you listen to your dilemma. We are trying to see it from both sides here. Do you rely on your mum a lot for childcare? Does you having another child mean that your mum's childcare has just increased massively? And is she thinking, I didn't
Because they
sign
both
up
said
for
they
this.
work full time, so maybe that is the case. And maybe she's thinking, I love looking after one, but two would be unmanageable.
And also like,
And she doesn't want to let them.
she's like in her, maybe her later part of her life, like she's done her parenting. Obviously grandparenting is different. Like you get all the good bits, but is she then feeling like she's also about to have another child because you guys might need her a lot because of your work and stuff. I don't know. Could be completely irrelevant. You might not, but these are things to consider because we have maybe seen this in other people we know and stuff, like parents' reactions haven't been what they wanted, but that's because the parents are involved
Yeah.
a lot.
So I would say communicate that and work and ask her and say like, oh, this is the feeling I'm getting. What are your thoughts? Maybe take her to a scan so that she can be involved. Again, that whole thing of like dad's not really feeling it until the baby's here. So try and involve her maybe a little bit more by taking her to a scan and just saying like, this is how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts?
No, that's actually a good idea. So like take her to the scan, like maybe say that you're going to name the baby after like middle name or something, like manipulate her into feeling more involved, right? So that she feels responsible for this child.
The thing is, I think because what naturally happens is you kind of then don't talk about it. She'd feel awkward to talk about her pregnancy because she feels like, so then it makes it more awkward.
Yeah.
Whereas actually just addressing it.
I also feel like
may-
there is always a way to communicate things which is not confrontational.
Yeah.
It's not confrontational. You can take a very confrontational subject, and I feel like I'm quite good at this, and you can break it down in a way that's very easy to have a conversation about.
So how are you breaking that down?
So what you're not doing is you're not going there and saying and like being attacking.
Like, you make me feel like this.
You've made me feel like this. You just said, oh, you go and say, look, I'm pregnant. My hormones are all over the place. Like
maybe I'm reading this.
Maybe I'm reading this wrong. Maybe I'm just like you basically, this is what I always do. I was like, put it on me to then make it easier to then communicate. So even if you don't feel like I feel like, and it's like, I feel like maybe when we said that we were having the baby, that your reaction gave me an impression that maybe you weren't as excited as we are. And like, was there anything you wanted to talk about? Like, is there any concerns? Like, am I overthinking this? Like, how are you feeling about us having a baby number 2?
Yeah. No.
Over to you.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way that can turn into an argument or make that feel like an attack.
Yeah.
So literally have that conversation. Your mum will either realize that she was like not being that great and think, oh God, like, no, I'm sorry. And then she'll make an effort. 2, she might actually tell you some home truths that you might not be ready to hear, but you should just listen. Like, you already rely on me too much for childcare, or, you had a hard time with the first one. Like, just be prepared.
Yeah.
Just listen. And then, cool. Let us know how it goes.
Yeah.
We'd like to hear.
And we're happy for you. So
congratulations. And I think that's actually the end of the episode. I'm not going to look at the board. I'm not going to look at the notes, but I think we're at the end of our show.
That is the end. Well done.
Yeah.
You got there without looking.
Yeah, so thank you so much for joining us on this episode. Guys, if you haven't already, please subscribe. We're trying to get to 100,000 subscribers. Sarah apparently is going to pants me when we get to 100,000. I don't know why, but that's apparently what she said in another episode.
It was just, I didn't really know what to say. You're like, we're going to, and I was going to pants you.
Yeah. So anyway, since that episode, we lost.
Listen, we're going to. I was going to say we'd lose subscribers if I did that.
We actually did I don't know where we're at to right now, but we did hit 75k, which obviously is a nice milestone for us. Another 25k, get to 100k subscribers.
Yay!
It lets us know we're doing a good job.
So thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you, and we'll see you next week. See you next Tuesday.
Bye.